I'm insane in the membrane. I'm insane in the brain. That's what I do.
You know what? I feel honored here, Bryce, because you are the very first podcast victim business. So,
well, that's good because it can either go uphill or downhill from now. I will set the bar for everybody else from this point forward. So
that's right. That's right. So those of you who are watching this and you haven't been recorded yet, beware.
Yeah, this is how it happens. This is how it looks.
Well, you know, I do appreciate you taking the time to bond with us here.
Absolutely.
This is the official Pacific Northwest Business Showcase podcast, and it is the first of about 4 bajillion.
Nice.
That is an official number. I looked it up. Yeah, I've forgotten how many zeros are on the end of that, but bajillion is official. You are the first. Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome. Always here for you, Jim.
Yeah, well, you know, more than being here for me, Bryce, I want us to be here for you because
Great.
Not only have we been friends for quite a while, known one another through different business events throughout the greater Spokane Valley area, but I know you're a very multifaceted person. You hold many different positions with wearing many different hats. But the one
Right.
that we're going to talk about today is the business that you work in, family business. So why don't you start off with telling us a little bit about the business and a little history on it and what you do there.
Yeah, so I work for Pinnacle Investigations. It's a company that my mom founded over 35 years ago. She was a police officer with the Spokane Police Department, the city's first female police officer. So through that experience, she founded a private investigation firm. A lot of the crimes that she ended up investigating as a private investigator could have been prevented with a simple background check. And so she kind of got into that. And through her experiences in doing that, she founded one of the first background check companies here in Spokane. And so they did pre-employment background checks. And about 15 years ago, my dad wandered into the office of the CEO of a company called Energy Northwest. Pejoratively, you know it as Hanford or whatever, but the nuclear facility down there outside the Tri-Cities. And he asked, "You guys do background checks?" And through a conversation with their CEO, and that ended up getting into the nuclear power industry, doing background checks for the nuclear power industry. So right now, our company, Pinnacle Investigations, has 3 wings. We do private investigations. I happen to be our head private investigator, so I'll be the guy if something happens. And then we do pre-employment background checks for large companies, small companies, nonprofits, corporations, healthcare, education. And then we also do the nuclear background checks for a large portion of the nuclear power industry.
Oh, fantastic. Well,
yeah.
I mean, being the international business that you are, and
Right.
I know you've mentioned nuclear business, you've mentioned education. Who is it that you think would be your best customer or your target market that you're going after?
Well, our target market is anybody who is hiring someone to come into their business. So our target market can range from a small startup, a small business. We were a small business a long time ago, so we love small businesses. But it can also range to a very, very large corporation that hires hundreds and hundreds of people throughout the nation. So we can work in the nonprofit world. We work in the education world. We work a ton in Native American gaming. We work in healthcare. We work in nonprofits and churches too. So especially what we talk to people about is that if they're going to bring someone in and they're going to have someone supervising, and someone who's vulnerable, a child, a teenager, a vulnerable adult, we want to make sure that those people are covered and taken care of because you put trust into people. And so we want to make sure that people that are in trust of, especially other people, are taken care of and are vetted properly. Money can be recovered, but the scar on somebody who had something committed against them because an improper background check was done or one was not done at all, that scar never heals. Money can be recovered, but emotional scars cannot.
No, that's fantastic. And that's a really good point to mention because I have to admit, coming into the idea of using a company to do a background check, to me makes total sense for the education world, for, the nuclear business that you're in, where it's high secure, high everything. But, people may not think about it for the mom and pop shop and where... Yeah, sure. They may not have 50 or 100 plus employees, but even if they have that one person that they're entrusting to bring into their home, in essence, they need that extra layer of security and protection. So, okay, well, that's an excellent way to think about it.
Yeah, that's one thing that we've really tried to emphasize with these smaller companies is that we work honestly, and recently we worked pretty exclusively or pretty extensively with people who have in-home maid services coming in to work. And so you're letting someone into your home who may have a key to your home, who may have full access to everything that you have, from your valuables to financial information, into your home when you might not be there. And you want to make sure a company you're using just to do a maid service is letting someone in who does not have a criminal history past that would expose you to liability. So you have that starts there. But then you also have someone who you let close at night at your business. Or you have someone who has a history of violence and you're letting them in around other workers who don't have a history of violence. And if you have the opportunity to vet them properly, run a proper background check on them and make sure that they can fit into your company, even if they do have some criminal history. That's the other thing, is that there's a lot of states and localities that even if you have a criminal history, you're still eligible for a position. You need to show that you haven't reoffended or that you've made changes in your life. And so a background check doesn't eliminate someone with a criminal history, but it helps properly vet those who are coming in, that they are a good fit for your company moving forward.
Okay, very cool. So tell me this, for your business in particular, being local and global, so many people are thinking right now, how do I adjust or pivot my business, or how do I get it going again in a post-COVID? Hopefully
Right.
We're in the post end of it, but how do I do that? And so one of my questions to you is, with COVID still so fresh in our brains,
Right.
What's been the greatest impact of COVID-19 on your business?
I think what's been really interesting for us is we as a business had to pivot, and we had to move a large majority of our staff home. We employ anywhere between 35 and 90 people, depending on the season that we're in. And we still have to do background checks. So here's the thing, is the nuclear industry didn't stop working just because there was a pandemic and just because we were in quarantine here in our homes throughout the nation. It's still continued to function. And so one of the things that we saw that I think a lot of companies have seen too is that pivot to telecommute, the work at home. Well, think about what that does. We're going to put a $2,500 computer in the hands of a newer employee, and we're going to send them home not only with that equipment, but we're going to send them home with access to people's social security numbers, their financial information, their credit reports, their neighbors, anything that you can get a background check. We're going to send them home. We needed to immediately put into place doing background checks on that. Like, we've always done background checks on people, but we realized the importance of doing background checks on our own employees. So if you're in a company that has pivoted and sent people home, you're sending them into an environment where they have access to everything with limited supervision. And not only they do, but their spouse, their significant other, their kids, anyone else coming in and out of the home. And so one of the impacts that we've seen is it's also sometimes just not necessary to do a background check on the individual working for you, but requesting, because you can't force them, but requesting that do the people in your home, do they have a criminal history past? And so that's just an interesting thing with the telecommuting. They're in a home. You need to make sure the people that have your equipment and have access to your information have been properly vetted through a good background check.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Good advice. Maybe trying to dig at a little bit of vulnerability for you in particular in Pinnacle Investigations. It's been said that people learn from their mistakes, but wise people learn from the mistakes of others. Right. So what can you tell me? What mistakes have you made along the way that you think other entrepreneurs and business owners, business leaders might be able to learn from your experience?
I think the biggest thing that I have learned is how little I know. I do pride myself on being a person who's able to pivot, being able to change and be a little chameleon as it comes through, as things have changed. Like, think of how many things have changed in 2020, and we don't know what even's coming up in 2021 and beyond. But I think your ability to be a learner, to be someone that says, I'm going to take a step back, and I do know some things. I'm not unwise. I do know have the ability to learn and change, but to step back and say, are there things that I don't know? Are there things I can learn from other people? Are there people in industries around me? Are there competitors? Are there people in industries that are not the same that I can learn from? One of the things that I try to do as a human being, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, is say, what can I learn? What today can I learn that can make me better for advancing what I'm going to do. So that's like a big deal for me, is advancing in what I do.
No, that's outstanding. And I love it that you're actually including what can I learn today?
Right.
What can I learn right now? So, I mean, learners are earners, they say.
And the more that you can learn, the more that you can earn. And let's be honest, we all want to make a little bit of cash money on the side. And so there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, sure, we have to pay our bills while we're serving others. So, all right, so let's get into lightning round.
Okay, great.
We'll do rapid fire, a couple of questions, couple of answers, and maybe get you a little off guard.
Okay, I love that. Love it. Keep me on my toes. Keep me on my toes. Jim and I used to be in an improv group together, so we got all.
All right, so these aren't tough questions, but what is it that's inspiring you today?
Honestly, I'm inspired, and this sounds so cheesy, but I'm inspired by our students that are going back to school. I got to tell you, so I have a 12-year-old daughter who is a 7th grader. My fiance's got some kids that are 10 and 14, and they're going back to school. And their ability to transition from what has probably been the weirdest year of anybody's life. I think you're probably going to have to look back to the 40s or in the Vietnam era to see and understand students transitioning or pivoting from being online learners to online in-person learners to now in-person learners. So I'm looking back and I'm saying, these are kids who will know how to deal with change better than anybody else. And we need to look at them. They're starting to be called Generation C, Generation COVID. But as kids and as students, high school, middle school students who can pivot to learn in different ways, these are the leaders of the future. They're not, I think they're the leaders of today. We just need to bring them up well and learn from them. So I'm inspired by our high school and middle school students, especially.
Excellent. And be sure and tell them that as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Because that will help them learn and grow and, learn to earn. Right. And readers are leaders, right?
Exactly.
Readers are leaders. So with that thought in mind, are you reading any books right now?
I am. I'm actually reading a book called Atomic Habits by James. I think it's James Learn. I always forget. James Hurd. I don't know, but you'll find it out. Atomic Habits, great new book. And I'm reading a book by a pastor out of the East Coast called Changing Your Mind, about the habits and the thoughts that we have in our mind and how to change them. Those two books are changing everything I'm doing. They're changing my daily habits. They're also changing what goes on in here. If you want to win in life, you've got to master this piece right here. Your mind, I've always told people, the voice in your head is a liar, and you need to learn how to defeat him or her. And so
mindset matters. So that's awesome. All right. So tell us, do you guys do special events, promotions, anything coming up that we could be on the lookout for?
Yeah, so we're going to be heavily involved. Here's a little secret. I love golf. And one of the big things that we have coming up, because we can do this in the COVID season or post-COVID season, is golf tournaments. So Pinnacle Investigations is going to be sponsoring a dual Chamber of Commerce event between the Valley Chamber and the Coeur d'Alene Chamber called Battle of the Border. It's going to happen at the Hayden Lake Country Club. We're going to be a presenting sponsor for there. So we got some stuff coming up and be kind of looking at the pipe. I get to guide kind of the things that we get to do, be out there in the community. So you're going to see us be heavily involved in the Valley Chamber, especially, and a lot of these golfing events that are coming up.
Very awesome. I did not know you were a golfer.
Yeah, it's a secret way to work. I got to take the whole day to prepare for this.
Well, I have to admit, I do own clubs and I've golfed all over the country, but humbly, I'm one of the best golfers out there.
Well, no, Jim, you can give us all some lessons. We'd love to.
Well, in fact, most of the time I golf, it's in tournament events, fundraisers, and I'm in a scramble. But I'm very proud to say that I know for a fact I must be one of the best, because the last 3 scrambles, I got high score in all of them.
Nice. That's good. That's good. Foursome, you got the high score, right?
Yeah, foursome. No, in the entire tournament, got the high score.
Because I'll play Mario Golf with you. We can do a little toadstool tour, and I'll kick that. So that's where I'm going to win.
No, I am terrible at golf, but golf to me is one of those games. It finally dawned on me that people who really enjoy it, it makes me wonder why, because it's the kind of sport where the less you play it, the more you like it.
Yeah, exactly. And you got, for those non-golfers out there, a high score is a bad thing. If you didn't get the joke. Jim was telling. So
joke nothing. It was for real. I'm talking like 88, 89, 90, and this was on a foursome. Our best combined score.
That's awesome. That's great.
Well, Bryce, hey, do you have anything else exciting happening in your life? Anything you want to share with us?
Nope, just always excited to be part of anything that Jim Reincke is doing. If you guys don't know Jim, get involved with him. He's great. Told a story about Jim to my fiance last night about how Jim got me connected with the Valley Chamber. Jim's your man. Got me connected super well. So I love this guy. So
well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm going to put this out here. I know it's still a couple of days away. I have my stand-up comedy debut on Sunday night at the Spokane Comedy Club. You can still do that. So
nice. So people can go to the Spokane Comedy Club and keep an eye on their calendar for Bryce Brewer from Pinnacle Investigations.
Yep.
All right. So Bryce Brewer, Spokane Comedy Club, but also lead investigator at Pinnacle Investigations.
There you go.
Brother Bryce, I appreciate your time and your energy today. So
I appreciate
take care.
So much for giving the opportunity to this one. I appreciate it. So
you betcha. Have a great day.
All right. You too, Jim.